Hey folks, and welcome back to Monday's lesson. We're going to be looking today at just this very cool, very simple, but very influential lick by Derick and the Dominos. Obviously Eric Clapton playing it. So the first thing first on this lick, like I say to all my pupils, is know what scale you're in. All right. That means you can take the ideas later and use them yourself in different areas and different songs and things like that. And this is a great lesson for string bending in itself. So first things first, we are in the D sharp minor pentatonic, or D sharp blues. So obviously that was the minor pentatonic and then the blues afterwards. Now, if you look here, what we're doing is we're playing just basically on the top two strings of the scale. Okay, so we do a hammer on from the first to the fourth or the third finger, depending on what you want to use. Okay, then we go, so we're on 11, 14, and then we got 11, 14 again, back to 11, back to 14 on the B string, and back to 11 again. So we get again. Now what we've got is we're going to bend from the 14 on the E string to the 16, and then let it down. So you get this. Now, one of the things with string bends we've talked about, and we'll talk about more in the future, is this concept of 3 points of contact. Okay, you've got your anchor, your pivot, and then this thing, or a couple of fingers here, or I use 3 fingers to get extra strength. Okay, and remember, all the movement is coming from the wrist. Imagine the Queen's wave, like this. Then we have our guitar shape, and this is the motion that's happening. Never this. This is not what's happening. We're not using our fingers to bend. We're using our wrist, because that's where all the muscles are, right? So if I then do this movement here, and I'm going to twist just like this. So my knuckle is on holding, and my thumb is on. If you're unsure about the movement, put your thumb just ahead of your knuckle. So your knuckle here is just on the guitar, and then you rotate and flap like this. Imagine there's like a set square and your hand's moving down, right? So anyway, and then we do a bend. Then what we're going to do is 13 on the E, 14 on the B, and back to 11 on the E. So you get that. Sorry. Then we do the same thing as the beginning idea. So we do the same thing again. But this time, we bend 2 frets up. So instead of bending on the 14, we're bending on the 16 to the 18. And the same thing. And you'll notice with my right hand that actually I'm covering all the other strings. In fact, if you listen now, there's the E. All the others are basically covered, so that when I make noise, I'm stopping any loose noise. Loose noise that will come from the bend, okay? Which sounds bad, right? So we've done that, and then all we do is we go back to the 13 on the E, 14 on the B, and 11 on the E. So that whole thing goes. Now, that's the whole lick. It's so cool. The thing we want to think about when we're string bending again is our target note. So if I'm bending from the 14 to 16, I want to make sure that I'm getting that note. If you just bend it randomly, then you've just bent the note out of tune. All right. Now, so that's the string bending and that's the hammer on. What we want to do now is think about how we can use this idea or use these string bends ourselves. So this is a really good example of great string bending position on the blues scale. So if I do this, those notes sound really good. With the hammer on, we can then adopt that and make it our own. So the idea is if we know what the scale is, then say if we're jamming in A, the guitarist's best friend, the A minor pentatonic. We can steal that little bit you heard at the end. Is obviously part of the later idea, but it doesn't sound it when I'm in another context. So you heard that again. But so it's always trying to think about how you can use the material you've got to develop your own creativity. All right, don't forget we're back on Friday with a funk lesson, and the funk lesson will be kind of how to use double stop notes and chords to sound a little bit cooler. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and see you next week.